Welcome back, guys, and it's great to have you watching today. I'm Jo Pickard, your host, and in our next session today, FSI will be demonstrating At Your Service, the one-stop shop for all your service requirements. At Your Service allows you to improve customer experience by allowing you to engage with the end user, control what services are available, and handhold them through facilities requests. Emails, phone calls, and traditional intranet portals may not meet today's consumerized expectations for communicating with your facilities team. In the demonstration, they will show you how At Your Service can dramatically enhance your delivery proposition, create new revenue opportunities, connect the customer service desk and facilities management, drive customer satisfaction, and realize the full benefits of a complete end-to-end facilities engagement and delivery solution. I'll then be joined by Carl Greenfield and Louise Gregory to answer your questions in the live Q&A. Enjoy!
Hi there, and welcome along to a short presentation on FSI's brand new application, At Your Service. At Your Service is a brand new and exciting way to allow your end users to log tasks into concept evolution using a new, modern, easy-to-use interface. This application has been designed using best practices learnt over the years, which enables your users to have a simple but powerful task logging app in the palm of their hands. With just a few taps, a user can navigate through a hierarchy of fully customizable categories to ensure the task logged in Evolution is classified correctly. So, before we have a look at the main app, I think it's important to start with the configuration element behind the scenes to understand exactly what we can show to our end users. Now, what you can see here is the configuration app that ships with At Your Service, and there are many options as you can see, but the first and probably most important is Manage Service Catalogues. So clicking here takes us to a new window, and what you'll see first here on the left-hand side is our catalogues, and we can have as many of these as we like. And selecting a catalogue, you'll now see a list of top-level categories, and drilling down we see subcategories, and then instruction sets. And if we have a quick look at the settings that we can apply, selecting a catalogue and then the Edit button in the top right-hand corner, here are our catalogue settings. So we can give it a name, a description, link it to a contract, and most importantly, define the building or buildings that the catalogue relates to. Closing that down, we can have a look at the settings for a category or a subcategory. And again, these are all totally customisable, and I don't necessarily need to reflect the category structure within your Evolution system. That might be geared more towards FM and could be confusing for the end user. And finally, if we look at an instruction set, we have the actual instruction set here at the top, and that's a live lookup to Evolution. We're able to customise the name, short description, long description, and upload some custom imagery here at the bottom. If we scroll to the top and to the Options tab here we can select whether the task will require an appointment or whether there's a price associated to it, and I'll talk more about both of those later on. Another thing to note about the config utility is it is very easy to use with a simple drag and drop interface. So you can see here I can simply pick up an instruction set and move it around as needed. The last thing to show you in this window is the button on the bottom right-hand corner here. This allows us to quickly and simply add our categories and instruction sets. The next element to discuss within the config app is survey management. Now, what survey management allows you to do is create a customizable list of additional questions to ask the end user. We can then link those questions to one or more instruction sets, the idea being that we can gather all required information from the end user up front, which is then visible to the help desk user and resource carrying out the task. This should then reduce the time spent by the help desk users asking follow-up questions and trying to classify the task correctly. Now, what you can see on screen currently is our survey designer, and as you can see it's a very nice, simple, easy to use survey design with the sort of drag and drop tools here on the right hand side. So I can simply pick up a question type, drag it onto the survey here, and I can obviously edit this now as I see fit. What I actually do in this instance is delete it. And if we go to the assignment tab here in the top right hand corner, what you'll see on the left hand side is a list of all the instruction sets that don't have a survey attached to them, basically. And you can see obviously on the right hand side, this particular survey is a service items that I can simply drag and drop here, deep clean, over to this side. Just finishing off within the configuration activity, you can see a few additional options here, such as the About Us and Help page. There are customisable pieces of text that we can show to the users of our service. We also have the payment gateway settings, and if I click here, you'll see that we currently support 3 different payment gateways, and clicking each one of these will show you the required settings for each payment gateway. Now back to the main page. We also have general system settings, and obviously there's a few settings in here. Firstly, we have all the integration settings, such as the connection to Evolution and different settings we need for external communications and the mapping tools. We have in-app settings, and this is mainly for the single item or basket mode, and this allows users to essentially multiple task requests into a single appointment or payment. We also have our currency settings, they amend depending on local currency setup. Here we have our address settings. There's a few options here. Firstly, to show or hide the location within the app, and you may wish to hide the location if you have more of a residential type setup. We also have a lot of settings here to allow users to create their own buildings during the self-registration part of the process. We can specify certain areas that we cover, and we can tell the app which contract, etc. to use at the bottom here. And lastly, we have a small error handling setting here. This just allows us to enter an administration that will be notified of any integration workflow failures. Okay, so jumping into the main app now. As an end user, I hope you download this app from the App Store, and the first time that I log in, it'll ask me to register myself. Now, there's a whole lot of rules behind the scenes that we can set up for self-registration. Obviously, we can talk about them in more detail. So the first time I log in, it asks me to set up my account, and the first most important thing is to log myself against the building, because logs and everything are set up at building level. So I can do a search. Again, this is a live lookup to Evolution. I select my building. I can give it a friendly name because this app does support multiple buildings, so it's nice to have a nice friendly. I can select my default location within that building, so that's going to speed up things later on when I'm logging tasks. I can also put my preferred telephone number in here. And again, that's going to speed up help desk contact potentially later on. And that's it. Hit save, and I'm now ready to start using it. Okay, so now I've registered, you'll see this is the main app, and this is a list of top level categories from the catalogue, which is applicable to the building I'm logged into. Now, clicking on a top level category here will show me the subcategories within that category. Clicking on a subcategory will show me the instruction sets that subcategory. If we pick air conditioning too hot, it'll show me a nice customizable page with the imagery and text that I set up in the config app. Tapping continue will basically show me a summary, and it'll give me a text box specific requirements that I might have. Once again, will show me my kind of confirmation page here. This will just kind of confirm exactly what I'm ordering, where I am and my location. You can see it's picked up my default location that I set up earlier. Tapping on Quest will log the task with an Evolution. As that, just a couple of taps and I have logged Evolution to the correct instruction set. So here I'll log another task, again comfort category and our air conditioning subcategory, but this time I'll pick the request air conditioning service. Now straight away you'll see that this has a price associated to this particular instruction set. I'm going to hit continue. You'll also see that it has the survey that we spoke about earlier in the config app. So as a user I can enter all my answers here, tap on next. And again, it takes me to the specific requirements text box where I can enter in there if I want to. Tap on continue. Again, it takes me to my kind of confirmation page, but this time, where we said that this particular instruction set requires an appointment, I'm now able to select exactly when I would like that resource to appear at my premises. And again, this is all a live lookup to Evolution, so this is all configurable. We have a couple of extra options there, whether we need it ASAP or whether we're flexible. Again, it picks up my building, and again, it picks up my default location. In this instance, we'll actually pick a new location. You can see it's a nice, kind of easy, simple, searchable, autocomplete drop down here, so I can type in a portion of the word and it picks it up for me. And here, obviously, it tells me that there's a price at this time when I hit confirm. At this point, it's going to punch out to a payment gateway, and the payment gateway is going to ask me for my financial information, such as card number, etc. What's important to know at this point is that FSI don't hold any of this information. It's all handled by the payment gateway. The payment gateway simply communicate with us to say whether the payment was successful or not. In this instance, it will come back and say that the payment was successful. The task is then logged within Evolution, and again, as a user, I'm greeted with that little message that tells me the task has been created. Okay, so before we jump back across to Evolution and see what At Your Service has created for us, there's just a few more things I'd like to show you within this app. So my requests at the bottom here. This will show you a list of all outstanding requests that you've logged through this app. Tap in on one of these requests, it will show us our timeline. So this is any updates from Evolution, such as status changes, appointment details, etc. And the request details here finally just shows us a confirmation of exactly what was logged. Another feature of the app to show you here is the account menu. And this gives us access to things such as editing our profile, updating any information that may change. If we go back, we can also manage our buildings that we're associated to as well. So in here, we can have as many buildings as we need, and we can obviously switch between them as and when needed. We also have our payment history, so any services that you logged that require a payment will be shown in here. We have a couple of other settings such as change password and about us, but also we have the notification settings within here as well, where we can turn on and off any specific app notifications that we have through this app. The last thing to show you within the app before we jump back across to Evolution is the search and the favourites functionality. So obviously we could drill through the categories, subcategories, etc. But as an example, I can search for the word hot, and it will show me all the instruction sets that have the word hot in them, which is a nice quick way of getting to them. Also, we have this favourites icon in the top right, so whenever I'm at an instruction set, I can select that little heart icon on the home screen. As well as seeing all my categories, I'll also see a list of my favourites that I've marked at the top there. So jumping across to Evolution, you'll see the task that's been created by the At Your Service app. You'll see it's pulled through all the correct reporter details, the correct instruction set, and on the right-hand side, the appointment request details that I entered within the app. You also may notice a new icon on the task screen here, and tapping this icon will open the survey, showing the questions and answers that are filled in within the app. Back on the task screen, under the Financials tab, you'll also notice at the bottom of this tab there's some new At Your Service specific fields here. A nice feature of the At Your Service application is the ability for our end users and our help desk to communicate with each other. So on the left-hand side here is a mirror of my phone. As an end user, I can type into my timeline against a specific task any message here, like, "Can I have an update, please?" And I'll hit send. Over on the right-hand side within Evolution, you'll see we've got an icon here to say there's an unread message. Tapping on that and clicking on the action button for that particular message will take us directly to the events for that particular task. And opening the event, I'll see exactly what the customer typed in here. "Can I have an update, please?" And the beauty is, as a help desk user, I can actually chat back to the end user as well. So selecting the correct event type here, I can very quickly and simply type a message back to them, informing them that we will assign an engineer shortly. And tapping save and close here, again concentrating on the left-hand side for my phone, we'll see that message up instantly from the help desk. So the final thing to show here is when the task is completed within Evolution, it appears in our completed list within the My Requests section. We also get an email as an end user with a satisfaction rating. As you can see, it's a very nice brandable email, and it also scales very well on a mobile device. So here it is on my phone. And if we scroll down through the email here, if we tap on one of our satisfaction ratings here, you'll see it takes us off to our website, records our rating, and actually enters that as an event against the task. And that brings to an end our At Your Service presentation. So thank you very much for listening.
Hello and welcome to the Q&A. It's great that you could join us and I really hope you're having a fantastic end to your week. And it's my pleasure to be joined live by Carl Greenfield and Louise Gregory, who are ready to answer your questions. Don't forget to pop them in the question tab on the top right hand side. We've got questions flying in, guys. How are you today?
Very good, thank you.
Oh, really well, Joe. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great, thank you. So we're all in like different parts of our houses, aren't we? Still working from home. We've just been having a little pre-chat before we went live. So we've got quite a short period of time to go for the Q&A. So I reckon if I just crack on, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
can this app be made bespoke for each company?
In a way, yes. All the imagery and all the icons that you see are all customizable, so they can all be uploaded by the companies themselves. So they can be any color scheme and have any sort of branding that you need. Obviously, all the categories and everything else you see as well are all fully customizable, so they can be worded however the company needs.
Oh, that's fantastic. So you'd be able to make it your own, essentially.
Absolutely.
So can all employees use this app, or is it specifically for the FM?
No, absolutely. It's aimed for the end users of the building, so the occupants or the residents of the buildings. There are certain sort of self-registration rules that you can put in place that you allow a certain amount of people or whatever to register for the app. But absolutely, it's aimed at those end users.
That's fantastic. So can it be integrated with the BMs?
The BMS.
Oh, BMS. Sorry, my fault. Acronyms never been my been my top skill.
In a way, yes. I mean, our main sort of CAFM system does integrate with BMSs. So yes.
Great stuff. So who submits the survey? Is it done by the FM or by all the employees?
The actual surveys themselves are completed by the end users when they log that particular service request. So the idea of the survey really is that the help desk or the FM people will create that survey, but actually the answers will be given by those end users. And the idea of that is that we can get all that information up front. So all those questions that a help desk user might be asking backwards and forwards via email or via telephone or whatever, the idea is that we can get that all up front in one go to kind of reduce that backwards and forwards between the help desk and the end user.
Fantastic. So is there a live chat option to chat with suppliers, i.e. if you're waiting for an AC?
There's a live chat as such, yes. There's a way to communicate with the help desk. There is a plan for the roadmap going forwards to actually push that out to our engineers' apps as well. So in the future, there will be a way to communicate between end users, help desk, and engineers.
Right. Can I scan a location?
Yes, actually. So at that final point of the process, if you like, there's a configuration option to turn scanning on and off. So currently we support scanning of QR codes for locations, and that would just be a little button to the right-hand side of the drop-down for location. So rather than search through the drop-down, you hit the scan button, scan the QR code, and that will pre-populate that for you.
Great stuff. Is that a new thing?
It is, yes.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, so it's so great, isn't it, that you sort of listen to what people need and kind of try and build around that and integrate that within the app.
Absolutely. I mean, picking a location is actually one of the hardest things, if you like, for a task logging app, because there's so many locations with so many different names and some with the same name as well, across different floors and that sort of stuff. So to be able to just point your device at a QR code and it pre-populate building, location, floor, and all that sort of stuff for you, it's a massive win for us.
Also, everybody's so used to scanning a QR code nowadays, aren't they? Because that's how you get your menu in a restaurant.
Exactly.
Yeah, it completely is. And actually it's so interesting through COVID, I think, that it's become more of a normal.
Even my mum knows what a QR code is now.
That's it, yeah.
And that's saying something.
But I do think they've made it much easier, because originally when QR codes were a thing, you'd have to it was quite a difficult process. Whereas
well, you used to have to be able to download a QR reader, whereas now, like every smartphone, all you do is it just opens up your camera and it takes you to the web page. And it's all about taking that technology forward into our products, which just makes it really quick and simple for the user, which is the whole point of At Your Service, to make it very, very user friendly.
And the beauty of QR codes as well is they're so cheap. that you can print them yourselves, you can make them look however you want to, and there's a branding opportunity for you there as well. So having your FM logo on all these different locations kind of makes you a bit more visible to the end users.
Fantastic. Well, it's great that you can hook on to other technology as well to be able to benefit customers. So is there a desktop version?
So
There is.
no is the answer. So At Your Service is a mobile application that you can access through the mobile phone. However, as Carl sort of alluded to, it connects back to the desktop product, which is a web-based product, which is Concept Evolution. So that's your CAFM engine. And that's really where the sort of brain is of the technology. So your information is all stored within that database, and really At Your Service is all about getting that connection into the database and driving on the app technology, which people are so familiar with these days. And you're not restricted to being at your desktop, you're not restricted to being at your desk. You can log faults, log requests on the move, and that's really the whole point of it, is reaching a much wider audience through a mobile app, which certainly the younger generations are very used to, but also for the breadth of really people within business these days and residential spaces.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. So how do you link up specific and preferred companies to the app? For instance, Havoc.
HVAC.
Thanks. You can tell these acronyms are not part of my day-to-day discussion points. I'm trying my best.
Yeah, but you're reading them as they come in as well. So.
I am. Scanning.
The whole kind of linking stuff, as Louise mentioned earlier, really would be done through our desktop version, through Concept Evolution. So all the tasks will come in through At Your Service, through Concept Evolution, and then be pushed out to our individual kind of preferred suppliers and that kind of stuff. There's probably a conversation for another day, but it comes through At Your Service, through Evolution, and then gets pushed out to where it needs to go.
Yeah, so it picks up the database rules. So everything that you have set up to do with your maintenance on HVAC or air handling units, that's all controlled within the sort of brain of Concept Evolution. For that end user that just knows if they're too hot, too cold, or if you've got hot air blowing, etc., they don't need to know that back end stuff. They just need to alert the help desk, I'm too hot, I've got a leaking unit, and stay away from the annoying acronyms.
Yeah. So are there any limits to the numbers of categories you can have?
No, there's no limit at all to the number of categories, subcategories, and category levels, though obviously with any system, we would really recommend that you make it as simple as possible for your end users, which means a real kind of streamlined approach and terminology that everybody's familiar with, not stupid FM acronyms, so that Joe Bloggs in his flat or Joe Bloggs at his desk knows exactly the types of categories that he needs to follow to be able to log his request or issue.
Fantastic. Or Joe Pickard in a sound room.
Or that, yeah.
So where do I get the icon images from?
So we, FSI, we actually provide an icon pack. The icons are actually just SVGs. So these can be custom to you as a business, and you can either edit them, you can either edit the provided icons, or you can download and create your own actually. So you've got loads of flexibility in the look and feel for your users, which means you can really tailor it to look as if it is your own app that you've built rather than an FSI product.
Fantastic. So can the questions be used to triage the problem?
Yes, in a way, yes. So we have categories, subcategories, and as Louise said, as many kind of subcategories levels as you like. So it could be that those categories are written rather than a category name, it could be a question name. So it could be, answer this question, and it presents you with another kind of list of questions, if you like. And eventually that gets down to an actual service type or task type. So yes.
Brilliant. So how many end users can you actually have using the app?
That's unlimited.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so obviously for businesses out there that might have a portfolio of 10,000 users, you can have 10,000 people sign up or have the potential to sign up. So as Carl mentioned, I think it was mentioned also in the video, it's a really, really slick way to sign up, and it really reduces the admin in advance. So you can actually just download the app and then do the self-registration as you would for sort of any application that you download from the Play Store or the Apple Store. So we've used that technology to really minimize that administration overhead at the beginning. It's not that sort of old-fashioned build your list of users, build their login names, control their passwords. All of that is pushed down to the user, which makes it really quick and simple to log in, actually.
Yeah, and also gives companies room for growth as well, and
Sure.
growth of the app, which is fantastic. So, how GDPR compliant are you?
We actually have a GDPR toolkit as a separate application within our suite. So the GDPR toolkit covers all of the stuff you need it to do. So it can have automatic rules for anonymization. It can handle all of those GDPR requests that come in. So yeah, there is a separate GDPR toolkit that sits within our sort of suite of apps, and it handles all of that stuff for you.
And likewise, we're Cyber Essentials compliant, ISO 27001, ISO 9001. So as a technology business, we take security of our users very, very seriously. And we've got all the expected accreditations you would look for.
Fantastic. Well, that's great to hear. Now, I'm not sure if I've asked this question already. So can I have different prices per building for the same service?
Yes, you absolutely can. So that's the idea of the catalogs behind the scenes. So when you create a catalog, you assign those catalogs to specific buildings, and those catalogs obviously include all your different task types and everything, and they also hold all the pricing structure. So you can have as many catalogs as you need. You can reuse the same task types in all the different catalogs, and all the pricing structures exist within those catalogs. So yes.
Brilliant stuff. Well, Carl, Louise, thank you so much to both of you, and of course to FSI as well. It's been great chatting with you today, and thank you for giving us all that information. I know that if anybody wants to find out more about the products discussed, then you can book a meeting with a representative from their exhibitor booth. I hope you guys